So in this module, I'm actually going to deal with one of the questions I get asked most often. And that is, John, that is, what if the rear naked choke gets on? And again, I really don't want to scare you too much, but honestly, if you look at MMA fights, if you look at this going on, if you look at jiu-jitsu fights, they end on those moves a lot. So there you have people who have trained for this day in, day out, and they end on that move. So, you know, it's just one of those moves that if it gets on, if you let it get on. Now, I have years ago when I started teaching, I was teaching a military unit, and this guy said to me, I was teaching a move, and he said to me, well, you know, and he was he'd done some judo or something, and he kind of fancied himself, and he said to me, oh, if I got such and such a move onto you, you'd never get out of it. And I said, I don't know, but you're probably right. And he says, well, I'd like to try. And he was here, and then I said, okay. I said to him, okay, put it on. And he turned around to me and said, turn around. I said, no, put it on. So what I'm saying is, there's a long journey from there to here. Right? You know, and you're gonna have to fight me all the way. So if somebody tried to put a rear naked choke and me, get out of there, or if someone tried to come in here and make a choke in his eyes. So remember, yes, be wary of this technique, but remember, there's a lot of distance. If you're paying attention, if you're aware, if you're fast to act, there's a lot of distance they have to travel to get there. But that being said, let's look at what do you do. So obviously we said when it comes on, we want to try and tuck our chin. If we tuck our chin, it allows us bite, allows us to attack the groin, allows us elbow. But we want to look at now what are our other options. So there's basically, the first option is before the elbow gets to your jaw. Up to here, you can interrupt, you can tuck your chin and grab it up. But when the elbow gets around your jaw, it gets a bit more messier. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a different angle. And instead of pulling against the arm now, I'm going to come up here into his shoulder, and I'm going to pull down. And from here, I'm going to turn in and go on the attack with knees into his eyes. If it gets all the way on, what you really need to do is you got to bring your hand up here, you got to get your thumb inside, and you got to get your shoulder, your grip on that shoulder, and then you're going to rip down on that shoulder and twist, and you got to do a bit harder, a bit more aggressive. Yep. So you got to reach up and you got to rip. Oh yeah, that's the one. So now he's pulling out the shoulder. Now he can go on into the groin. He can drive his knee on up, get his finger into my throat, and he can really let that go. Okay. So what we're going to do? The choke is going on like so. We're going to bring a hand. You should look like you're carrying a log on your shoulder. We're going to get a hand. We're going to get a hand in, thumb all the way in. You don't want your thumb out. You want your hand all the way in. And what you're going to do is you rip, and you're going to rip and twist. So you rip and twist. So rip and twist. And then you're going to rip and twist and go really tight. Now the loose hand goes attacking the groin. Turn in, use your knees on the groin, and get your thumbs into the eyes. So everybody have a go with that, please. Let's go. All right, so what you're going to do now is with your partner, John, you're going to put the rear naked choke on. But your job is to not let it get on. So you're really going to tuck your chin and try to get it out. But your partner is going to be as fast as they can and try and get it on. Like that. So if you stop it going, you do the move where you reach towards my eyes. No, the other way. And pluck out. Yeah. But if they get it on, you go out the other way. You go the other exit. So you're practicing both now. So basically, again, let's do it again. Your job is the guy's going to try and get it on. If you can stop and get it on, great. Then do the normal move and come out, keep going, and come out. But if they get it on, you go out the other way. So we don't know. We can never predict where we're going to be. We can never predict. So we have to train for both scenarios. So your partner's going to go put this on. So have a game with this, yeah? You have to start loose so that you have a challenge. If you can stop it, stop it. If you stop it, then do the exit, the early exit. If you can't stop it, go out using the shoulder. Okay, go. Go.
Seconds. 1, 2, 3.
So now I want to look at a different scenario. I want to look at a move we've been looking at before. So we've been looking at arms free, where we got arms get pinned, and where we had the space to kind of move and attack the groin and all type of stuff. But what if he gets us caught really tight, like our arms get caught like so? Yeah, and then we actually can't get our arms pinned. Okay, so we have a couple of strategies. The first strategy we're going to just look at from here is shin hacking. And that is to start to hack at that shin. And you know, boom. Now we can go for the groin. Now this is quite important, by the way. When you shin hack, you don't, it's not tapping. It's not this. You actually have to really, really swing that leg. You swing. Now the other thing I'm here, look at me. Look what I'm doing here, look. There might be a finger to be got here as well. So you've got two strategies. If his hand's really low, you're basically trying to get your hand to go, you can't. You shin hack. At the same time, you might be looking for a finger, but as you hack him, he might move back, allowing you to start to get into the groin and get those elbows going. It's a bit messy, but try doing nothing and see how messy it gets. And when you hack, you don't stop. And even if he's moving his legs, he may be opening up space to allow you get on the attack and the groin. And you may be able to mooch up and move your hand so you can get a finger. Okay, so let's work that complication, okay? So we're gonna work shin hacks, using it to get to give us a space to attack the groin, and also looking at grabbing fingers. Go, go. Right? No shin hacks. They're shin tickets. You've got to hack that shin. Yeah. So the other thing we can look at, so we get ourselves, there's two other options. If we find ourselves really pinned very tight, sometimes we can just work our hands in and start ripping and tearing at that groin. That might give him the space to flinch back, and we start to shin hack. So if you get really pinned, if you can just work your hand in, and don't just try to slap because you haven't got the energy to slap. So grab and rip and tear. And rip and tear, and add in your shin hacks now as well. So let's add in reaching behind, grabbing and ripping and tearing whilst we shin hack. And really, remember, all of this is just to open up space to allow you then to proceed with your normal attack of palms, elbows. And if you can get a finger in that mix, get a finger in that mix. Okay, let's go. So in the mix of this grab, what you're going to do is you're going to look, watch this, in the mix, just relax a second, in the mix as you struggle, or if his hand gets below your elbow, that you've tried to get your hand out, look, now your elbow is out, so you're trying to pull it out, but it's not working, but look what happens if you leverage off your elbow. So you're here, and you're trying to pull your hand out, and you've got both hands really tight, you've got the whole thing really tight, you can't get out, but what happens if you leverage your elbow? So if you find that your elbow is out of the grip, rather than pulling, leverage. Now you have a free hand. And what can you do with a free hand? You could elbow, you could slap to the groin, you could knock on the thing, you could grab a finger. Okay? As we keep building techniques and build kind, we want to keep integrating them. So in this drill today, just back to 3 people, please. One with a kick shield. And the idea here again is blasting, so we're integrating blasting, palms, elbows, knees, but also the other guys putting the techniques on. But this time, we should be putting everything on. We should be putting rear naked chokes on. We should be putting arms grabbed with the arms pinned. We should be really making it difficult for him. We should be making them work, using the knock-knock, grabbing fingers. We should be getting them to go out the side with the rear naked choke. But your job now, when you're drilling your partner, is to really, really put them through the gamut. Make them really, really work all the techniques. And remember, you're their coach. So you need to sometimes, if they need it, like if they're struggling a bit, step back, help them through the moves. If they're getting it, put the pressure on. Remember, it's all about stretching your partner. So get set. Go, 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 go.
Jesus. Fucking bad, not him.
Man, keep going.
Come on. Elbow. Pin arms. Really hit woman in the beard.
Okay, guys. So let's round this module out. As we can see, as we move towards the end, the modules are getting tighter and tighter, and we get into the minutiae of self-defense. So today we were looking at the idea of understanding the difference between where the elbow is in that rear naked choke. If it's before, if you can get in and get your chin tucked, you break out. If it gets on, you go for the shoulder twisting in. But it's also important to remember, when you twist in here, you stay close. And we're starting to look at the real infighting, pinching, attacking the groin, knees, again, compounding those attacks. We also looked at the idea of being grabbed, the arms pinned, ripping at the groin, using your shin hacks. If the arm, you're looking at fingers from here. If your elbow is out, wrestling your elbow out so you free the arm so you can go on the attack. Okay, a lot of small stuff, but compounding all these things together, you start to become ferocious. And that's what we'll be talking about next. In the next module, we're going to be talking about becoming ferocious. Okay, give yourselves a round of applause.